Come out on top of your next deal with our top 7 undervalued players to trade for now in Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues. All this and more. It's the IBT podcast coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fix this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. The NFL, it's certainly alive right now. We had more league changes in a single weekend of postseason ball than entire postseasons before. Coaches and teams are parting ways. Players are putting their feet in the sand while organizations already in off-season mode with free agency and the NFL draft looming. This creates a certain uncertainty in Dynasty Fantasy Football and the landscape itself. So we're going to help you capitalize on that tonight with our top 7 undervalued players to buy low right now. I'm your host, Seth Wilcock, and I have to admit, this isn't the only form of buying and selling players I'm doing right now. I recently got into the college football cards game. And let me tell you, boys, your kid is hooked. I'm buying, I'm wheeling and dealing out there on eBay right now. I'm going to card shops. Yeah.
Why?
It's become a problem. It's become a quick problem. I don't know. It's fun. I like wheeling.
All right. You know what? I won't yuck you yum. I'm glad you're happy, man.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And for the first time in a minute, we have a full house on the program tonight as well, which includes a big business, light ranch and son of a gun. He's Eric Romoff. Eric, it's been since before the holidays, so you've been on the show. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I guess go Horns, go, baby.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a stretch. I'm happy to return with a triumphant wind at my back as my Texans handle up the Steelers and the Mike Tomlin era and the Aaron Rodgers era. So I'm coming in on a high note tonight, boys.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, man. Back in true heel fashion, as always, are you, Tex? And we're also back with a man whose New England Patriots also will be on TV. Once again, this upcoming weekend, they're going to host the Texans in the divisional round. He's Boston's boy, Steve Lawson. Steven, great to see you. Congrats on the big win for the boys up north in the wild card round. Not going to congratulate Eric, but going to congratulate you. And how are you? And congrats, man.
I am also riding high. Anytime I get to watch Aaron Rodgers get his bootay kicked on prime time, I am happy about it. So I'm not a homer, right? I'm not a fan. Like I don't root for a single team. I root for a bunch of guys. I am absolutely pumped that the Houston Texans took boots to butts.
I tried to set you up. I tried to make, the hometown team feel good for you, and you couldn't even take that. So what a shame, this is what happens when you grow up in a town where you had dynasties just every single year. So, yeah, I think you're a little spoiled.
Well, yeah, I you know what? Yeah, and then they did my boy dirty, right? TB12 gets shipped out of town unceremoniously. Yeah. And you know what? That just showed me that loyalty is overrated.
Okay.
There's a few things I don't believe in, right? I don't believe in 2 weeks notice. I don't believe in rooting for a single NFL team. Loyalty's dead.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. If one day Steve is just gone from the program and there's no 2-week notice, you heard it here first here. And I don't know what episode we're in. I think we're in episode 300 something. I don't know exactly. I know it's season 7, episode 52 or
this might be actually maybe. This is probably sitting right around my 100th episode.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Maybe there won't be 101st as well. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
We'll see how it's going tomorrow.
a guy who's been with us since the beginning of this program, though, probably all 300 plus some episodes, making us sound crispy behind the scenes. He's our resident Yinzer. He's a ginger, and he's also a former IUP Crimson Hack, baby. He's producer Kyle Scott. Jim, what a run it's been the last few weeks out there in the Berg for the Lurs, and a probable Week 18 win against the Ravens to clinch the AFC North in heroic fashion. Then we suffered our 7th straight playoff loss to the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football, and now Mike Tomlin stepping down after 19 seasons. How are you? And what has the vibe been like out there in the city over the last 48 hours, and even prior to that, maybe 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin leaving was not expected. I mean, everyone was hoping, but it's crazy. I mean, it feels like the first time Pittsburgh's getting a new head coach in a lot of fans' lifetimes. I mean, he's been there for a long time at the office. A lot of names were flown around. Who do we want? Robert Saleh could get a second chance. Mike McDaniel, Chuck Noll could come back at retirement. So, you know, a lot of hope, a lot of optimism, I would say, in the Berg for the future.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that everyone was keeping together. Any Mike McCarthy love out there from the boys in the office today, or no big Mike mentions, Kyle?
No, I don't think Big Mike. I don't think I heard his name today.
Okay. I was seeing that floated out on the internet a couple places, so we shall see. And you know, we're not going to give it its own segment today because we do have some dynasty buy lows to get to. But I did just want to, really, cap tip Mike Tomlin, right? Super Bowl win in 2008 got us to another one in 2010 that we probably win against Aaron Rodgers if it isn't for one Rashad Mendenhall. 19 consecutive non-losing seasons, holds the NFL record for the longest streak to begin a coaching career, with every team finishing 500 or better, won 8 division titles in his tenure, 200 career wins. And he reached this milestone in 2025, becoming the youngest coach to do so. So great career for Mike Tomlin. That being said, boys, I think this is the right move, right? I think, as we've seen with the Baltimore Ravens, as we're seeing with other programs where, Steve, when it was your New England Patriots a couple years ago, right? And Bill Belichick, sometimes the message gets stale. Sometimes you do have to move forward. And will there be bumps in the road? Absolutely. But I feel similar to this move as how I did about the James Franklin move at Penn State earlier this season, that sometimes you have to reset. It's going to suck, and we might not win as many games. We can be positioned better for a Super Bowl in the future. So, Mike Tomlin, I appreciate everything you've done, but you have to get over the hump once again in the playoffs, and we weren't doing that despite arguably the best defensive player of our generation on our team. So, Eric, any thoughts here on the Steelers and the Mike Tomlin era closing?
I'll set aside your best defensive player of our era comment, besides it being just blatantly wrong. But yeah, look,
second top three.
Mount Rushmore of this generation, for
sure.
But another conversation for another day. Mike Tomlin, I poke fun at him that we are the ones that ended that run, but what a run it was, right? Like, one of the most consistent and consistently good to very good to great head coaches out there. His ability to take what oftentimes looks like a bunch of tomato cans out there and cobble together a 9, 10, 11 win season is astonishing, right? So I don't think on merit he necessarily should be let go, but the reality of today's NFL is like the fastest path to a Super Bowl is not being consistently above average. It's being very bad for a little while and letting the cupboards get a little bare, restocking and starting over with a young squad, right? So I think this was the appropriate time to make that change. But Mike Tomlin, like many of these pseudo legendary coaches that got cut loose this cycle, is going to have a lot of phone calls coming his way today and in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay Glazer kind of gave us the breadcrumbs a couple weeks ago, saying that if he did lose in week 18, maybe TV was an option for him, right? And to your point, as you mentioned, if you've been hitting the Steelers season win totals the last couple of years when the books have been really down on them since Big Ben's exit from the team, you've been making money, you've been cashing tickets. So it's been a great run. And, there are those teams where it was Duck Hodges, right? And it was Mason Rudolph, and it was Kenny Pickett, and it was Mitchell Trubisky, and we're still finding ways to win. So that's fantastic. You got to cap tip to the Steeler way and the fact that the standard is the standard, right? And, if he didn't like you, he'd ship your butt right out of town, right? He wasn't afraid to do it. Sometimes it backfires, right? Like it did with George Pickens here this past season. But then sometimes you're shipping bums like Chase Claypool out there, aren't even on an NFL team right now. I think he might be in the UFL this season. So, Steve, any thoughts for you on Mike Tomlin? I know you've been someone who certainly watched a lot of Lurs football over the last 16, 17, 18, 19 years or so.
Yeah, I mean, my first memories really of the NFL when I started to get into it was with Mike Tomlin kind of coming in as the Steelers head coach. I've always really loved Mike Tomlin. This is the right move for the Steelers if, and this is a big if, they commit to the rebuild. That is the only way that this is the right move. If they decide that, nope, we're going to keep going, we're going to get a veteran quarterback in here, we're going to make this right, you made the wrong move. You made the wrong move, and now you're going to be bad, and you're going to be in some sort of cap purgatory. But I do think, I do have problems, and Eric let you off the hook with the TJ Watt comment. That's just blatantly incorrect. Second, I do think, to Eric's point, I don't think the fastest path forward in today's NFL is to be really bad and then stockpile young people. I think it's to do what, frankly, the two most consistently good teams over the last 5 or so years have done, the Eagles and the Rams, and that's trade all your assets and all your draft assets and just be good every year and just go get an established talent, a young established first round picks are way overvalued because it can bring in someone like AJ Brown, or you can go and get a George Pickens. I know they traded away George Pickens.
I don't think I want AJ Brown on my team right now. To be honest, that's a bad look.
Well, that's because their offensive coordinator couldn't call a single play correctly. I mean, that would have frustrated anybody.
Sure, it also didn't help that he had popcorn hands for half that game, but that's fine too.
I think that this Mike Tomlin thing, I don't want to compare him to the Belichick thing because Belichick fell apart. That got really bad here in New England. He was losing bad, wasn't adapting to the NFL. Mike Tomlin never fell off the cliff. The cliff could not find Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin basically just glided right over it when the cliff came. It should have come multiple times. He has one quarterback that's ever started for him that has a losing record, and that's Mitch Trubisky. Only one. The only one. This man is already Hall of Famer, certified, one of the greatest coaches of all time. And I think as far as total X's and O's, start to finish, offense, defense, special teams, I would say he's a bit better than Belichick was.
Sure. I think honestly too, like when we're just like kind of rounding this discussion out with like potential replacement candidates, I think you take a big swing, right? I mean, I think you exhaust every resource. I think you're making some ludicrous calls. I think you're calling Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. I think you're calling Sark down in Texas. You have
to commit then to like 5 years of them.
I'm good. No, I'm good. I mean, someone young like Sark and Freeman, those are people I think could do that type of situation. No. If not, I think you're going after someone like Chris Scholla, right? The Rams defensive coordinator, or it's a Clint Kubiak type of situation, right?
That's
I think it's something like that. I could see, any of those would be like really my top 4 calls that I'm probably making, but I think I'm starting in the college ranks. Honestly, I think I'm going after some of these big fish.
I think there's a name that people are ignoring in this situation.
You thinking Flores?
I'm thinking Flores. I'm thinking Brian Flores because he fits the Steeler way.
It makes the most sense. I just worry.
I'm going to beat you down.
It didn't work the first time, so I just worry. You know what I mean?
The Dolphins were not bad. Remember why Brian Flores got fired? It was because he was winning.
Yeah.
Maybe the only coach ever to get fired for winning.
It's fair.
Lovie Smith would like a word.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's fair. Hey, that got you CJ Stroud in the long run, and Will Anderson.
We would have drafted Stroud either way. So
I hope
shout out Lovie Smith.
Yeah, shout out Lovie. Yeah,
I do think Brian Flores could really be that guy though for you guys. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a brilliant football mind.
Eric, you like B-Flow as a replacement?
I do like him as a candidate in general. The only thing I'd have to set aside is, and I say this knowing and seeing the irony as a Texans fan, if I'm going out into the market to hire a head coach, I'm hiring an offensive guy, right? Because if and when you find a play caller as your OC that can initiate an effective modern offense, he's immediately out the door to go take someone else's head coaching job, right? So if I have the chance to hit the reset button, I want to go after a Clint Kubiak type Mike McDaniel type that I believe can come in and call plays for me for a very long time.
That's a good point. Good point. Yeah,
I
agree.
Great.
All right, well,
I
guys,
want McDaniel to go to Baltimore so bad.
I want McDaniel to go to Baltimore so bad.
No, come on. We don't need him in Pittsburgh. At least he's not a Pittsburgh guy. He won't make it out here.
No, I'm saying Baltimore. It would be my ideal landing spot for McDaniel.
Okay.
That man, Lamar Jackson would go for a gazillion total yards. It would be absolute ludicrous.
Well, guys, we're going to jump into our favorite buy low targets. Let's go ahead, though, first and remind everyone that you can also come hang out with us in the IBT football family, growing every single day right now. We really appreciate all the new members we have over there. Over there for free right now, you can get access to chatting with our analysts and viewers and entry into our memorabilia giveaways at no cost. We also have a ton of fun tournaments happening. Some of them are going to be free, like our PGA one and done competition over there in the IT golf family as well. We also have the Survivor and the Grammys fantasy leagues happening as well in the IBT entertainment family. More stuff happening in the IBT racing family as well, like the head-to-head calls contest as well. So a lot of fun stuff happening over here. If you want to upgrade then as well for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year, you are going to get access to our full betting cards and the touchdown call contest. So a lot of fun stuff happening as well. We also have, of course, the Prop Decks tournament rolling on. Steve currently in first place of that. Shout out to you as well. Looking for that Fanatics gift card out there in the streets. But Steve, if you win that, just so you know, you do have to. We are going to give that back away. So. Just so you know. Yeah, just so you know. That's
I'm not. And I'm not going to have 2 weeks notice. I'll walk.
Just resign.
I'll walk.
Take the gift card.
All right. Well, this is the type of fun we have over there in the IBT family. We're getting competitive. We're having fun, going back and forth, John, with each other. We've seen some Dynasty questions hit in there as well. So make sure you guys are checking out. Just go to in-betweenmedia.com for all that great content. in-betweenmedia.com/chat. That's going to get you into the Discord as well. Link is in the episode description. So a lot of fun stuff happening over there. Some for free, some for our exclusive paid community as well. But we want everyone to come get on the action. We're also going to have some different chats for our events that are going to be popping up here very, very soon as we progress through the new year. So, guys, let's go ahead and fire it up here with a little headline hijinks with our 2026 early Dynasty buy low targets. All right, and here we are in headline hijinks. We're giving you our early 2026 Dynasty buy lows, and we're going to do it with a punny headline because that's what we like, a little hijinks, a little fun. You know, we don't like to take anything too serious here at IBT, but we still want to deliver you the goods. And Eric, you might be the one who is starting off here with the goods.
Yeah, my first headline of the night, JJ is still dynamite, that being Justin Jefferson. Everyone's favorite wide receiver to love to hate down the stretch run from his 2025 season, absolutely plummeting down Dynasty wide receiver rankings. And I think that is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. So I want to get out there and take the appropriate response to the market and try to gobble him up for whatever discount I can get. Obviously, the people who are rostering him either paid through the nose to acquire him, or they're potentially looking for the opportunity to hop off of what they might view as a sinking ship, the pain of likely missing the playoffs and certainly not making a title run while rostering him is going to be fresh. So all this is to say the opportunity to go out there and strike is right now as the season is just winding down and as the fantasy season is freshly over. Look, Justin Jefferson clearly had one of his worst years on record. Finished with about 12 fantasy points per game. But you look at some of his underlying opportunity metrics, and they're still fairly strong. 141 targets is right up there with his average over the last 4 years. His receptions is really what fell all the way down to 84. But a lot of that was driven down by uncatchable targets, right? You adjust his reception or his catch rate for those catchable balls. All of a sudden, it's now nearing 90% again, right? His 1,000 receiving yards probably climbs up to 1,150, 1,200. his 2 receiving touchdowns has some, some room for variance to move in the right direction. So all this is to say, whether it is JJ McCarthy, continuing to develop, whether it is the Vikings going out and finding a more capable pass catcher, I think the baseline expectation for Justin Jefferson next year is going to be much closer to what we saw through the first handful of seasons of his career. And you simply don't have to pay that price to go out and get him right now.
Okay, so right now we're seeing both at Keep Trade Cut and in the Fantasy Pros Superflex Dynasty rankings that Justin Jefferson 15 overall, right around the wide receiver 4 mark. Steve, does that feel about right to you? Because I know you're someone who's in the camp. You are not a believer in JJ McCarthy. We have explored that numerous times on the program, but there is always the avenue that they maybe do bring in a veteran to push him, maybe another young quarterback as well. So overall, long-term, how do you feel about Justin Jefferson in the dynasty landscape? As Eric says, the cheapest he's been. I don't know the last time he has been outside 12, the top 12 of the Superflex rankings.
Yeah, I feel really good about Justin Jefferson long-term. You're probably going to have to put up with another awful season, though, because JJ McCarthy is the worst quarterback in the NFL. And it's not close. He just is. He's bad. And it's absolutely, again, I have multiple dynasty leagues where I have a very high draft pick because I was rebuilding, and I'm very much going to shop that high draft pick to go try to get Justin Jefferson.
How high? How high are we talking? Like 101,
102,
overall?
101. Don't care. If it gets me Justin.
Would you? So you would trade the 101 in Superflex
instantly
for Justin Jefferson?
Smash accept. Smash accept. I'm still all in on Justin Jefferson. I don't have to like his quarterback because I know if JJ McCarthy stinks again next season, which I believe he will, the Vikings aren't going to sit around and be like, that's fine. Go ahead and waste our time. They'll move on. And I can't imagine it could go any worse. So I am still when baseline, really bad is 82 or 84 receptions. That's pretty elite. When that's a bad year, I'm pretty happy to take that.
You're fine.
Eric, would you rather have the 101 in a super flex? And Steve, were you rebuilding in that league, or are you more of a win now team? Okay, you're rebuilding. So rebuilding, Steve is willing to trade the 101 for Justin Jefferson. Is that a move you would make, Eric?
I would as well. Yeah, I think that's probably about fair market price. I think you can get him for less than that right now. The fantasy pros rankings that you mentioned sound to be some of the highest that I've seen out there. I'm seeing Jefferson float around wide receiver 7 to wide receiver 10 overall.
Oh, wow.
Right? And at that point, you're looking more of like mid first round pick, or maybe
no way.
You jump at it, obviously, right? But just comparatively to wide receiver 10, that's more like the 105, 106 kind of range,
Steve, do you need a quarterback in that league?
No, it's a single quarterback league, and I have Jaden Daniels and Kaleb Williams.
Well, that changes everything, I guess, if it's single quarterback. But if it's super flex,
where I have the 103 that I'm probably going to shop for him as well.
If I have the 101, if I have the 101 in a super flex league, and Fernando Mendoza is staring me in the face, and Justin Jefferson, one of my all-time favorite,
Mendoza.
I don't know, man. That is a real question mark right now. This kid is hot. This kid is hot right now. He's dealing, dude.
Hot. He's fine.
If I have the 101 in the super flex and Fernando Mendoza's staring at me at the face, I'm letting him go to the 102, and I'm still taking Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love is clearly the 101
right
now.
We're going to do some would you rather battles in the coming weeks, and that will be one we'll revisit.
Spoiler alert, Seth's answers to all the questions are going to be Fernando Mendoza.
Hey, you know how it goes, but very interesting.
I think that's really concerning for Fernando Mendoza's career, because Seth historically likes terrible quarterbacks. Like JJ.
I will. You do have me, Steve, that I have been on record saying my scouting of quarterbacks is not great. I'm not a quarterback whisperer. I'm better.
Scouting of quarterbacks is like, who won the national championship there? Great. Be quarterback one.
Hey, I wasn't on Stetson Bennett. I wasn't on Stetson.
Did they win the national championship? Yes. Did they play in the Big Ten? Yes. He's a lock.
Hey, easy.
Lock it down.
I love all conferences. I love all 10. I'll call 10 conferences. We got Ben checking in. What's up, Ben? Great to see you tonight. Albert as well. Good evening, IBT. Good evening, Albert. Great to see you, buddy. And David Yo checking in with us as well, saying as long as Buns McCarthy is the Vikings quarterback, Jay Jettis can't be rostered. Most important analytic here is JJ McCarthy is cheeks. McCarthy should go play for the
Where's
Kansas
that
City.
person remember the person who commented that said we couldn't use the word cheeks to describe someone as being bad? Where are they? I want them to come back and see that comment got made.
Let's go, David.
Specifically how I refer to people
on
who are
YouTube
bad.
Came after us for saying cheeks, and where have they been?
David's here with us. We appreciate you, David. You're our type of person, man. We appreciate
that's the point, though, David. Right? 85 catches, 1,000 yards with JJ Cheeks McCarthy throwing him the ball. Right? McCarthy gets incrementally better. They address the position. Like there's a lot of meat on the bone with Justin Jefferson.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to my first buy low target, and it's like, I want to say targets, but it's like the S in the parentheses. You know what I'm talking about? Like targets. Like you can kind of read it either way you want to go. But yeah, so I am going with hashtag here we go again. I'm back in on the Steelers once again after, just getting my heart broken not even 24 hours ago. And I want to be targeting Jaylen Warren and Kaleb Johnson in Superflex Dynasty Leagues right now. And look, the departure of Mike Tomlin and potentially Arthur Smith going with him is going to open up the door for this offense to potentially improve. And the players, some being Kaleb Johnson, to get a second chance, right? Also, Kenneth Gainwell, likely going to be one of the hotter names on the free agency market. We'll see what happens with players like Travis Etienne, but if he returns to the Jaguars, I think it really makes Kenneth Gainwell's value go up so much that with Omar Khan, the GM, sticking around in Pittsburgh here, really the disciple in this GM from Kevin Colbert before. Like, he sticks with his guys for a little while, right? Kaleb Johnson, 3rd round pick last year. I think they're going to let Kenny G walk. They're going to see what they have in Kaleb Johnson. And we're still less than a year removed from Kaleb Johnson leading the Big Ten in rushing yards, 1,500 plus, and touchdowns as well with 21. He wasn't someone I always loved on tape compared to a lot of people. I thought he was quicker than what he ended up being at the combine as well. But he got upended early this season, right? He lost that game to the Seahawks on that errant kickoff play, never got back in favor with the coaches. And Kenneth Gainwell was also awesome, and nobody saw that coming. So I don't blame them for essentially redshirting him this year. 30 total touches on the year, but only 22 years old on keep trade cut right now, 160 overall, RB 44. That's behind names like Devin Neal, Tyjae Spears, Bill Krosky-Merritt, Tyler Algier. I've seen what they can do. I'm not that impressed. I do kind of like Devin Neal, but I would still take Kaleb Johnson over all those guys, especially given the situation here. It is a bit of a mystery box, right? It's like one of those jerseys you order online. Eric, I know you love those jerseys where it's like, hey, you could get a Justin Jefferson auto, or you could get,
Kaleb Johnson.
Yeah, Kaleb Johnson. Yeah, sure. I actually just
like movie posters. I want that.
Yeah. Those are expensive. I actually just got one for Christmas, by the way, for the Steelers. For my brother. Not a movie. It was a Steelers helmet, and we couldn't figure out who the auto was because they didn't say I didn't have a card or anything with it. It ended up being Yah Black. We thought it was someone with an M. The way his Y was written, it looked like an M. So I was thinking it was Mason for a while. So but in addition to Kaleb Johnson, Jaylen Warren also still 27 years old, coming into a contract year, coming off a career year on the ground, 211 carries, 950 plus yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground. And despite Kenny Gainwell being the excellent receiving option that we are seeing just out there making people miss, even your Houston Texans out there. I mean, blame the field, whatever you want to do. I've seen some Texas fans throwing that out there, but Warren still caught 40 of 45 targets this season, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that could even go up if Kaleb Johnson is the RB2 next year. You'd traditionally think they would trust more Warren on passing downs, him more in these reception roles as well. So RB17 finish after finishing as the RB22 in 2023. He's a fan favorite here. He reminds me a lot like how the fans respected Hines Ward and the organization did back in the day. So I think he's either I'm just saying that, like, he's that type of player. He's a team first type of guy. So I think he either takes a discount to remain with the Steelers long term as their lead back, or he's going to go get paid next year in free agency, which could be even better for fantasy. So Jaylen Warren, Kaleb Johnson, I think they're both values right now. I'm trying to get them all when it comes to dynasty leagues right now, especially these leagues where I'm trying to make a title run in the next year or two. Steve, you don't seem as impressed with the Steelers duo running back. I know you hate Pittsburgh. I know you hate Yinzers. I know you've never been a big fan of Kaleb Johnson. What's the deal here with hashtag here we go?
Well, part of my issue is that I looked at it quick and I thought Lenny Kravitz was on my screen. Like, Jaylen Warren just kind of gives off that vibe. Second, they're just not good. Like, these aren't very good running backs. Like, they're fine. I don't hate the idea of going and getting them. I'm not paying much for either of them. I'll hand like a third round pick out for Kaleb Johnson because, like,
I think legitimately like a high end third could get it done right now.
I don't even know if that would make me feel great, but like, I'm half sure that at least a quarter of all the fire Tomlin tweets that were going on out there were from Kaleb Johnson and all his burners, because like, I've never seen someone go into the doghouse so fast. And Jaylen Warren, I think he is what he is. I think he'll always kind of be like that. Can't quite be a bell cow, but can kind of,
I mean,
like,
over 250 touches this year. You got to be impressed by that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just like, where's the production? Like, it's just not great production, and I want
almost 1,000 yards and over 40 receptions. It's solid though. It's like that's locked and loaded RB2 type of numbers, and I think that goes up if the offense improves. If there's a young quarterback, they could rely on him even more.
We pretend like Mike Tomlin didn't lead like some of the most explosive offenses in NFL history. Like, the man knows how to coach offense.
That wasn't him though. He always had his guys, right? He had Todd Haley. He had, before that he had Bruce Arians, those types of coaches. It's not Tomlin doing it. Tomlin's the CEO head coach. He has nothing to do with the
right.
offense,
But it's like I don't think, like, people pretend like Mike Tomlin suddenly forgot how to coach the offensive side of the ball. Like, Mike Tomlin, while he is like a CEO kind of coach, he's not someone who's just going to be like, yeah, do whatever you want and it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's going to make sure the team can win. That's why they win so much, is because he has his fingerprints all over this team.
It's fair.
So, like, my concern is that this team will just turn around and offer Arthur Smith the job, and then we're all miserable. So
I did hear Arthur Smith was getting an interview out in Tennessee this week. So hopefully that is not the case. That would not be.
That man looks like a thumb. I can't stand him.
Eric, what are your thoughts here? Warren, Kaleb Johnson, are either or both of them players you are targeting right now in dynasty leagues?
More so Kaleb Johnson than Jaylen Warren. I don't think there's really a soft spot in the market for Jaylen Warren. I think he's probably going to be pretty appropriately priced to get you kind of like middling RB2 production every single week. Also, he's old. He's already 27 years old. I'm generally not in the game of acquiring running backs that are older than like 24, 25 at the oldest. Whereas Kaleb Johnson is one of the youngest players in the entire NFL, and the price is absolutely right. Really, if it wasn't for finding his way into the doghouse because of that horrendous kickoff situation, he very likely would have earned more and more playing time. And now the coach whose doghouse he was in is no longer in the picture. So I think the Steelers are probably going to be heading into much more of a talent evaluation cycle, and that lends itself to more work for the kiddos. And going out and getting Kaleb Johnson for a mid to late third round pick is exactly the type of exchange that I want to make. I'll just drop him onto my taxi squad, hope that he turns into something meaningful, and then you get great return off that. So I will be floating offers out there for Kaleb Johnson. Jaylen Warren is a little bit more of like, it's almost like an equilibrium piece. He's someone that like gets tossed in as a part of another deal to make it balance.
Sure. I guess no one has Jaylen Warren circled as like, hey, this is my top priority for the offseason. But, I wanted to feature Kaleb Johnson. And if I was going to feature him, I felt like Jaylen Warren also gets the nod just because he's always going to deliver more value for his team, I think, like for whatever fantasy team he's on, than what he's going to get you in trade markets, right? So I think he's always going to be a value to kind of go out there and buy because he's going to get you more points than people expect. Steve, hit us with your first undervalued player that you're interested in acquiring this offseason.
Yeah, I'm gonna live and die by the Trey. It's Trey Benson, running back, Arizona Cardinals. I know he was a little beat up this season. It wasn't great that we kind of were all super excited to see what he had in the tank. James Conner goes down. Not that we were excited that James Conner got hurt, but I was excited that Trey Benson got opportunity, and it immediately like blew up in our faces, and that was a real bummer. And then the Cardinals kind of dragged us along, and like the foreplay lasted a little bit too long, and then they kind of left. And we're like, yep, nope, he's not playing. And I'm like, that's just fantastic. So it was a real bummer, but I'm still going to buy Trey Benson because I believe that like anyone who owns him in Dynasty is going to panic. And I love when people panic on players. And I'm like, you know what? I think the talent's there. I think the opportunity will come. And if he's healthy and ready to go next season, I'll take that shot. You want a 3rd round pick for him, maybe a late 2nd, plus like a Jaylen Warren? Sure.
Oh, and a Jaylen Warren? No way. No way. I wouldn't even trade Jaylen Warren straight up for Trey Benson. No way.
I would trade Jaylen Warren for him.
No. Yeah, it's a snap accept on the
real
Benson side.
Dude, what? There's like 8 running backs who are just as good, if not better, than Trey Benson in the draft. What happens if Arizona goes and draft one with the new regime? Because Trey Benson, you got to think, is not going to be this new head coach's running back. That is not a guy they drafted. So, I mean, I guess you could make the same case for Kaleb Johnson, but Kaleb Johnson has had, no real exposure. Trey Benson's had a little bit of a rip in the NFL. I mean, and what's stopping James Conner from coming back and just taking a bulk of the work again, too?
He's 150.
I mean, all these veteran running backs like J.K. Dobbins, they say hi this past year.
He's not a veteran running back like J.K. Dobbins or Ramondre Stevenson. He's 150.
I mean, he's still pretty young. He beat cancer, too. He's got superpower. So
that doesn't mean anything right now.
Way to go, Steve.
Yeah. Picking on
not supporting people with cancer. How dare you?
All right, fine. We'll just draft James Conner till the end of time because he beat cancer, 15 years ago.
We got DD checking in. Hello, boys and IBT family. What's up, DD? Great to see you. Hope you're having a great new year. We also have Jamie checking in as well, saying, "What's up, dudes?" Or if the Cardinals make a stupid move and draft Jeremiah Love with their first pick. That I think they have so many problems on the defense. That would be absolutely ludicrous. But I mean, then Trey Benson's toast if that's the case. But
I think that's kind of the point, though. Like Trey Benson was drafted in 2024. Like he's still on his rookie deal. Like
2 years.
The difference.
2 years.
The difference between him and Kaleb Johnson is that we've seen Trey Benson cook a little bit, and he's actually looked pretty good when he's gotten an opportunity. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Right.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. It is a cheap price. You're right, Steve. You're right. I'm sorry. I always contest you. Eric, go ahead and give us your second buy low target for Dynasty Fantasy Football purposes right now.
Yeah, free the Breece. New home helps Hall. That's Breece Hall, who should be arguably the highest paid free agent running back here in a couple of months. We're coming off of a absolutely disastrous Jet season, and one where, despite that, Breece Hall still managed to get up north of 1,000 rushing yards, over 1,000 rushing yards for the first time in his career, pushing north of 1,400 total purpose yards, near a career high. So, really, the thing
really
that dragged down
I
Breece
think the
Hall
Jets only had 1,000 total yards.
Exactly, and that was really what sunk the ship for Breece Hall, right? He only had 5 total touchdowns, despite seeing a new career high in rush attempts, a new career high in rush yards. If this Jets offense is even just mediocre, I think we see him closer to that like 16 and a half, 17 fantasy points per game that has him well inside the top 10, but they weren't, and so instead he finished as the running back 20 in fantasy points per game. And surprisingly enough, that's about where we're seeing him ranked by most of the consensus markets out there. So another glowing buy low opportunity. We can fast forward to a world where Breece Hall is the new starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs or the Minnesota Vikings. And now all of a sudden he's immediately getting vaulted back into that top 5 running back conversation that I think on talent is merited, right? So there is some of that Jets stink on Breece Hall right now, and I think you can go out there and take advantage of it.
I think so, and I do agree that I would be trying to acquire Breece Hall if I didn't already have him in a ton of dynasty leagues. But like that, the counter though, I think, Steve, is like, will managers be willing to give up Breece? Because I am not, because I know that potentially things could unlock if he goes elsewhere.
Did he also have cancer or something?
No, I just love Breece Hall. He's always, I'm in Jersey. I've just always been a Breece Hall guy. Hey, we got Steely Dan checking in, saying Seth for Steelers' new head coach. What's
now
up?
We're talking.
And Jamie also asking, what team can you see Breece Hall land on? So besides the Chiefs, Steve, is there another team? I was thinking the Saints, and maybe Kellen Moore wants to go get his potential bell cow back of the future out there in free agency. Saints have a little bit of money to potentially spend for the first time in a couple of years as well. So any thoughts on potential landing spot for Breece Hall? And are you still in on him, or are you willing to move off of him?
Oh, I'm super in on Breece Hall. I don't doubt the talent. I think, you look at the Chiefs. You don't sleep on the Houston Texans, making an upgrade at the running back position this offseason and going and maybe making a play at Breece Hall. Because Joe Mixon, we don't know what's going on with him. That may just be cut him loose, let him go find greener pastures elsewhere. And Woody Marks suffers from blindness, complete and total blindness when the ball hits his hands. That man has no vision. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Houston Texans maybe make a run at him. I don't know what the Cowboys feel about Javonte. I don't know what his contract situation looks like.
Yeah, sure.
And then perhaps the Carolina Panthers as well. Maybe make a run at Breece Hall to add another weapon to that team that's really in need of a true running back one.
Yeah. All right. I like it, boys. I'll go ahead and give you my next headline for my favorite buy low target right now. And I'm going to take a page out of our Yinzer playlist out here. You want Washington. You want Washington. Or Mount Washington, as people like to say, going up on Mount Washington this weekend. Kyle, can you give us a Washington, a Yinzer Washington? You probably do it better than me living in the city.
Yeah, you want to go Mount Washington?
That's so good, bro. That's great. That's great. Oh, Kyle's a gem. But why I love Parker Washington here, folks, is because when it comes down to it, like, this guy had kind of a mini breakout season that I don't think everyone is in tune with, right? 95 targets, 58 receptions, 847 receiving yards, over 14.5 yards per reception as well, 5 receiving touchdowns. This guy was out there. He was making plays specifically down the stretch as well. And like, I know that the former Nittany Lion has already moved up the rankings a ton in the last week, right? I mean, he's been up there. He's been doing his thing. But I also think it's not enough, because he could be a free agent as early as 2026. And in that class, he could be, 2027. And he could actually be one of the hotter names in that class. Also, what happens if the Jaguars, like, look, we've seen enough of Parker Washington. He was the guy who really helped Trevor Lawrence break out down the stretch. Let's get rid of BTJ while he still has value. And they move off BTJ. So this guy alone does so much for their team. He seems like a great guy in the locker room. They use him in a bunch of different ways on offense, whether that's manufactured touches down the field. He's their ace punt returner as well. So I just think, like, he's 119th overall on keep trade cut, still behind guys like Josh Downs, Troy Franklin, who I don't frankly think that they have enough upside like Washington. And we saw down the stretch, just to run through some of his latest game logs over the last month. Against the Bills, 12 targets, 7 receptions, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Against the Tennessee Titans the week before, 9 targets, 5 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Before that, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 115 yards, no score. And then the week before that, against Denver of all teams, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 145 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, those are elite numbers. So I think there's something here with Parker Washington. He was a good little player his first couple of years at Penn State. Kind of took a back seat his final season to Jahan Dotson. We had Sean Clifford playing on one leg for half the year. So I'm in on Parker Washington. Again, it's a higher price than we had to pay a month or two ago, but I'm in and I'm willing to buy it, hoping the chance that either A, he moves in 2027, or B, Steve, BTJ goes bye in Duval County.
Yeah, I think all the reasons you listed are really good reasons why you want to have Parker Washington. The problem, I think, is that all his fantasy managers know that too and are just going to hold him and be like, I wouldn't be shocked if they're asking for first-round picks at this point for Parker Washington.
No way.
After that breakout, you got to let this settle for a while. You got to let people forget. Right now, that steam is going to be way too high. You're going to have to drink way too much juice, and it's going to be really freaky. If I can get him for 2 seconds, I would. I think it's worth it. Although I'm kind of a weird dynasty trader, I don't think second-round picks are really worth much of anything.
I love seconds. I hoard seconds.
I don't. I trade them. Like, if I can get a good trade for them, I send them off. I always try to go for an established talent over a second-round pick at this point. But I think his value is going to be too high. And here's you guys are like, no, absolutely not. Would you give him to me for the 110?
Yeah.
You would.
I would take the 110 for Parker.
You take
Washington.
the 110 over him.
Yeah.
So what's his value to you?
I mean, if we're talking just straight picks, Superflex Dynasty, I think a late second. Mid to late second.
Oh, all right. Then yeah, I'll pay you that all day long.
206.
That's why he's a buy low for me. Like, keep trade cut has him all the way up at wide receiver 44 or 45, right around guys where you would have to pay,
someone like me, I'd be like, no, I want a back end first.
Yeah, they have him around guys like Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore. That's kind of the tier they have him in. But he's also behind some of those other guys I talked about, like Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, those types of players that I would much rather have Parker Washington than. And also then, no fantasy pros. I don't know if the dynasty ranks have just not caught up, but he's still all the way down wide receiver 70 plus. So I think there's going to be variance, right? I think there's going to be variance in what you have to pay for Parker Washington. Whatever that is, though, I am interested in potentially going there and paying that. So Steve, go ahead and round us out though with your headline hijinks for your final buy.
Yeah, all roads lead to Rome. I was proud of this one when I made it.
That's good.
Yeah,
you could have done like the movie.
Nope, I was happy with it.
When in Rome,
no,
you could. That's a good movie. Who's in that? Like Nicole Kidman or something? That's good.
When in Rome? What? I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? You don't even know the movie When in Rome, and you're an entertainment betting expert. Go. All right. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, no need to put in your 2 weeks for that position either. I guess. Jeez.
Well, all right. I'll consider. I don't really like Nicole Kidman, but that's fine. All right. Rome Odunze, last 8 games, averaged 2.5 receptions, 34 yards, no touchdowns, 0, nada, nothing. I think he was hurt, right? A lot of injuries, but that means a lot of frustration for managers. DJ Moore's getting a little long in the tooth. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the move this offseason. He could be a cap casualty. Potentially. I know Luther Burden came on well, but I do think that if it opens up, that opens the door for Rome Odunze to take over as that wide receiver 1, let Burden operate as that wide receiver 2. Obviously, Loveland and Swift and stuff like that is going to get their fair share. But early in the season, before the injuries started to pile up, Rome was really on a tear. And I think if you can get him at a reasonable price at this point, you want to make that move because the upside is still there and he's so young.
Eric, where are you at on Rome Odunze versus Luther Burden? I was talking to my friend Pat Fitzmaurice over the other day before a show, and I heard him say that he is all the way high on wide receiver 10 for Luther Burden. Overall Fantasy Pros Dynasty rankings right now, they have Rome at 19. They have Burden at 28. So definitely kind of flip from what Pat is thinking there. Where are you just about on these guys?
I like where Steve's coming from with this take overall. The thing to underscore is how quickly we forget just how dynamic Rome Odunze was to start the season, right? 16 points, 32 points, 15 points, 17 points the first 4 games of the year. Then he started dealing with some injuries and things really got off the rails for him, right? So overall, I want to invest in this Ben Johnson, Kaleb Williams led offense, and Rome Odunze is a great way to do it. Really, the determining factor is, do you believe that Rome Odunze is the player that we saw in the first quarter of this season, or do we believe that he is more likely to be this, kind of middling injured version of himself that we've seen down the stretch run? I tend to think that it's more likely he becomes the former and has some prolific upside. And in turn, while it's not a crazy discount that you're getting out there, if you were to try to go out and acquire Odunze after week 4 of this season, you were paying through the nose. Now you can get him for like a late first round pick, mid first round pick, right?
Maybe a slightly less painful orifice, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So really the determination is just, how much do you buy into the flash that we saw at the beginning of the season? I tend to believe that is pretty well represented on his range of outcomes. So I'm happy to go out there and take the discount where I can get it. I do think that DJ Moore is likely not long for this Bears world. So there should be one fewer mouth to feed, and we could be looking at a world where both Rome and Luther Burden are top and top
Loveland.
12, top 15 receivers. Loveland is inside the top 5 tight end conversation, right? Like, this offense has that type of upside.
A couple would you rathers here. Dynasty for Rome. Would you rather have Rome or BTJ?
Rome.
Okay, Rome or AJ Brown?
Rome.
Oh, okay, Rome or Emeka Egbuka?
Rome.
I think I'm a Mecca on that one, but it's they're back to back.
That's pretty close.
And then Rome or Marvin Harrison Jr.
Rome.
I think it's still Rome.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay,
Marvin Harrison Jr. is sneaky buy low option.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Before we get out of here, quick question here from help me read this one. Who's got the screen name here?
Steph.
Not me.
Ottaviani.
There we go. Steph Aviani.
Big Steph.
Stefani. We're gonna go with Stefani. Thoughts on Jordan Addison? I mean, it's kind of like we said with Justin Jefferson. I just like, honestly though, I said this the other day too. Like, I think if you like took Jordan Addison where you took him in your dynasty leagues a couple of years ago when he was coming in, considering he's off the Blintikoff, I think you're kind of like a little bit disappointed. That crazy of production that we've seen from what I thought we were going to get from someone like Jordan Addison, like came out the first season. 911 yards, 70 receptions. Next year, 63 for 875. This year, obviously, it has the couple games missed, 42 for 610. Eric, where are you at here on Jordan Addison? Keep in mind he did have that big rookie season because of the 10 touchdowns. And then again, kind of a touchdown monster down the stretch in 2024, despite a slow start.
Yeah, I mean, the story with Jordan Addison is really touchdown variance, right? So you find a season like 2025 where the offense couldn't move at all, and all of a sudden he's got 3 receiving touchdowns, and you're not particularly happy rostering him, right? I do think, I mean, his fortune is tied to my take on Justin Jefferson. There's really nowhere to go but up in terms of how this passing offense looks. Again, whether it's incremental development and improvement out of JJ McCarthy or a more capable signal caller coming in, one of those 2 outcomes is very, very likely. And Jordan Addison is still sitting here under 24 years old, right? So you've got more runway with the wide receiver position to kind of ride through these ebbs and flows. So he's probably a bit more of a hold for me than anything else. If you get some Trojans fan or Vikings fan that is bullish on him, I don't mind moving off, because I don't think that he's ever going to surpass Justin Jefferson. That's always going to be a cap on his upside. But if you set your expectations appropriately, that you're going to have like a wide receiver 3 with weekly wide receiver 1 upside for the next 5 to 8 years, I think you can be pretty happy holding on to Jordan Addison.
Steve, I think Eric makes a great point. At the same time, though, like I do worry that like he's just one of those guys who's always kind of like in the flex territory, right? Like who you don't feel great about starting him every week. I like him a lot more in dynasty best ball leagues. Like that's where I love Jordan Addison. I think if it's like traditional start sit league, I'm a little bit more hesitant on like going out and giving up something to go get him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's a lot scarier now than he was 2 years ago, right? Like that's just the honest truth. And He's hard to judge, like, I mean, there's a hope that maybe he gets out of Minnesota and can go somewhere that needs a wide receiver one a little bit more and make, like Vegas, right? Like somewhere that he can just go and get peppered with targets, and kind of have a Jacoby Myers resurgence of his career. But, until that happens, I mean, I'm not really, I guess I'd hold him if I have him. Or if someone's a little, feeling squirrely and wants to go overpay for him, then come get him. But other than that, I don't have a huge.
And also, like, if someone is like completely out and you can get him, like, what would you pay, like, draft pick wise, Eric? Like a mid second round pick for him? Would you take that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll go the other direction. I traded Jordan Addison and a third for Kyron Williams and Blake Corum last season. And I feel pretty good about that decision.
I would do that. I would
feel good about that decision. Yeah. Jordan Addison, here's my thought on Jordan Addison is I forget he's in the NFL until he has like a big game once.
Right. Weeks. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Also, Jamie in the chat with me, the most disrespectful thing I've heard all night, saying when in Rome is nothing special. It's pointless to watch. Wow.
I want to bring up a different comment because
also
you were just, where is it?
Yes. Let's go ahead and use Tony Reale behind the scenes. Kyle, what did I get factual error wrong tonight on the show?
Yeah, Nicole Kidman is not in that movie, not even close. It is Kristen Bell is the star.
I know. I get them too confused. I don't know how.
How? They're not even anything alike.
Why?
Not similar whatsoever.
I don't know. Is Nicole Kidman a redhead?
Yeah,
sometimes.
At least you got that part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think I get her name because it's a K, so I was thinking K for Kristen Bell, but then I went Nicole Kidman. I don't know. Yeah.
I frequently do that too. Sometimes I mix up Jennifer Aniston and Jabba Chamberlain because the J's they really mess me up.
I get you. Also, JV, don't forget, man. I do have a song. I gotta cut it up because we can't listen to the whole thing, but I'm gonna play parts of it. Jamie sent us a song submission. We're gonna play on the outro of one of our future shows. So I still have that. I got your email. I have that ready to cut up. Steve, maybe I'll put you on that to cut it up for an intro here so we can get it on the way out of one of these shows. So great stuff tonight, guys. If you want more of us, if you want to hang out with us, ask more Dynasty fantasy football questions, any fantasy questions you have, come over to the IBT football family. It's absolutely free to join right now. Just go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Link is in the episode description, and you're going to get a free conversation with myself, all the great analysts we have here, many of our viewers as well. You're going to get entry into our memorabilia giveaways for free as well. And as we mentioned, a ton of more contests. We have NFL ones that are for paid subscribers, but also free contests starting over on the IBT Entertainment family with entry into the Survivor League and into the Grammy League as well, also available for you, and the One and Done competition on the IBT Golf family. So, guys, so much fun stuff happening over there. Come hang out with us, be competitive, try to beat us in some of this stuff because we can't have Steve getting any more full of himself and winning this prop deck tournament. So, yeah,
I mean, I'm already more full of myself because, as Jamie pointed out in the comments, you're like, oh, it's a great movie. How could you not watch it, movie man? 16% Rotten Tomato score. Get out of here. Get out of my face.
Also, Seth says this having clearly not watched the movie. He's just deciding to stump for it for no reason.
I've seen it. I've seen it back in the day. It was a good little flick. It was a good little
flick. No, it
isn't.
It obviously is not a good flick. You didn't know who was in it. It got
not a good flick, but a star-studded cast, right? Yeah. Danny DeVito's in this. John Hedder's in this. Josh Duhamel.
Look up movie 42 or 43 and get back to me about star-studded cast and awful movies.
All right. Well, Steve, you'll handle more of the movie talk tomorrow. You're going to be live on Popcorn Root Beer right here on the channel. You're going to have Cassie on, who I believe is a stunt double, right? A stunt double.
Yeah, she's a stunt.
And you guys are going to be reacting and talking about the replacement. So excited for that. I'll be back on Thursday night with Elliot. We got some NASCAR future markets to break down as well. Still rolling and rocking with the PGA content as well. We just got back to that here this week with the PGA season teeing off. So a lot of fun stuff happening here. If you guys can do us a quick favor, if you've rode with us this long on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast, please do us a quick favor. Give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the whole channel for all that fantasy football and NFL betting content, college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and to enjoy the ride along the way. Also, more of that dope written content over at in-betweenmedia.com. I'm dropping some great articles here in the next couple weeks written by some of our really talented writers, so make sure you're checking those out. Also, join the Discord, join the community over at in-betweenmedia.com/chat. For my great friends, Steven Lawson, Eric Romoff, and of course, Kyle Scott, I'm Seth Wilcock. We'll see you guys next time. Keep it in between. Until then, thank you.